I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to serve your people, serve people of Adams County, and hope, Lord, that the deliberations and the actions that we take will be pleasing to you and will be to benefit those, Lord, that we serve. Ask all these things, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right, thank you. All right, have you guys had a chance to look at the minutes from May 2nd?
Yes, I have. I have. The only thing I saw, Tony, at one point, get my computer open back up here. We were talking about, I got to get logged back in, I'm sorry.
Just bring them down. Keep in mind, you have to be, if I have to change something and then we'll change it.
Here where we talk about the drainage board, approve a 5-member drainage board comprised of 2 commissioners
Mixed, preferably with members,
from north, south, and central part of the county.
should have said citizens probably.
Yeah, they're technically called freeholders, I think, in the
We just
code,
changed that.
with
term.
preferably with
Okay.
freeholders from the north, south,
Okay.
and central part of the county. I think if that's,
Easy fix.
and that's all I saw, Tony. Just move that member
Yep,
to
I'll change
freeholder,
that.
and
I'll change that as we're speaking.
And I would make a motion to approve with that one slight change.
Second.
Okay, motion carried. Thank you, gentlemen. Here's that. Tony, do you have anything for us?
I have first the Allied Weekly Health Insurance claims in the amount of $70,331.51. And of that, $42,454.27 is medical, $27,877.24 is pharmacy. And there on the second page is that information.
Okay. Any questions on that?
I'll make a motion. Second?
Okay, motion carries to approve those as presented.
Right. Next, we have payroll claims. And those are in the amount of $369,505.89, $369,505.89.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
And you all should have received claims. I noticed there were a few higher ones in MVH and so forth, which I think is prompting a little bit higher amount than we've had the last couple of times. But the accounts payable claims are $602,664.31, $602,664.31. Did you have any questions on any of those?
I have one, Tony. Let me
Okay.
find it here. I think it's just the description is throwing me off a little bit. Line number 125, highway claim for $77,956.80. It's Adams
I
County.
believe that is the
Petty
reimbursement
cash.
for insurance.
Okay. I was hoping your
That
pen.
was from the highway fund, and I paid it.
Reimbursement for
And
their
I'm
health
paying
insurance.
this for 2 months. I think that's April and
Okay.
May.
I guess I just had, maybe it was because it was so much bigger, but
Right, yeah.
the description petty cash just caused me to think, what is this all about?
You know what, I think we've had that discussion other times.
You probably, and you could have had it since I've been on here and I forgot about it, so.
I've never really liked the term petty cash on there, but I don't think state board does either, but hey, whatever.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion carries to approve the claims for, as presented.
Okay. And the last thing that I have, which only requires the chairman's signature. Oh, every year we have a service agreement with Maximus. And Maximus helps us with 4D and so forth. Looking for amounts here. Bree, I don't know that this actually gives an amount. What do we typically pay them to?
5,000 for the cost allocation.
And am I correct in saying that they do the 4D?
It says the contract is for 3 years, 3 calendar years, 2023, 2024, 2025. The term covers 3 years from January 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2027. Work will start in January 2024 and the kickoff of the 2023 plan. The end date allows for completing the 2025 plan in 2026 and invoicing and collecting for services provided upon delivery to the Indiana Department of Child Services in 2026.
So it's pretty much primarily 4D? Or is it
Yeah,
all,
this is all 40.
it's all 4D?
Prosecutor, clerk, all of, everybody involved with anything with 4D.
But you guys have $5,000 in your commissioner's budget that we pay for the cost, allocation plan. And then the prosecutor and clerk, they pay quarterly for the 40 stuff.
And this is a vendor that we're currently using, same vendor.
Yeah, we've used them for a number of years.
So would we have to do an additional for the 5,100 then, since we've got 5,000 in there?
Where's the 5,100 at?
On the last page, fiscal year 23, 24, and 25 are each 5,100. Trying to see what line item we've got that in. If it's a separate.
I don't know.
Because you said we've got $5,000 budgeted for that.
Well, I would assume it's gonna be 5,100 each year. Like I just paid them
Right.
5,000, actually, I think on the claims you guys just approved, we just paid 5,000 for the 20.
Sounds like we need to make that 5,100 for the 2024 budget
Probably
then.
going
Yeah.
forward.
Going
yeah, 'cause
forward.
like it went up $100.
So do we need to do an additional?
I think we're okay this one, because it was
We just
5,000.
paid I'm pretty sure on the claims that you guys got today, I paid the 5,000 for the one that we just met with Matt last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
For 2022.
So the next
So-
one will
so
be
we
next
pay-
year.
So we pay in arrears, okay.
Well, they raised the price, so you're just gonna have to budget 5,100
This
instead
is
of
for the,
5,000
we're,
for the
this is
next budget.
2024 contract.
We're okay now, because we
Gotcha.
already,
Okay. So actually what we're looking for is a motion to approve the contract.
I'll make
the
that
service agreement, yeah.
Motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion carries.
That's all that I have.
Okay. Brad?
I tell you, I always kind of hesitate because you never know, you might have somebody else that needs it real quick. Well, I shouldn't say quick. I don't have a whole lot.
We'll try and get you in there as soon as possible.
All right, we'll start with permits today. United Telephone of Indiana, AKA Brightspeed. They have a damaged pedestal they're going to replace with an actual one of those boxes and they now put in the ground at the corner of 200 East and 100 South. And there again, on all these, this is just the only one from them, but we go out, we look at these, we've looked at all of them, don't see a problem.
How many of the,
There's this one and then 3 more.
Do you want to do them one at a time or?
Well, this one's
Same
United
with-
Telephone, the others are all high and end. That's
I'll,
why.
Okay.
I'll make a motion. Prove that.
second, what
Okay,
township is
motion
that one in?
carries.
I think you're gonna make me think, Tony.
Yep.
Monroe.
If I'd have gotten copies before, I wouldn't have to ask.
That's true, good point. then when you get the copies after. All right, now the next ones are all from I&M on 300 East between Salem Road and 300 North, placing a pole. On 450 East between 1000 South and 1100 South, replacing a pole. And on 450 East, they're going from 1100 South to 1200 South, and they are replacing 6 poles. Basically, what it appears that they're doing is, if you drive around and look, there's a lot of poles that look really rough. They got a lot of age to them. And not sure how they determine which ones, but they're going around and picking out poles and placing them. So, and out some places they do a whole stretch, and others like this, they just do one.
It's probably just part of their regular maintenance and they
I'm
got,
sure it is.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, those 3 were from mine.
Okay, so let's take those 3 all together.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
If you want to just.
I'll make copies. Yeah.
Okay, that's good enough for me.
Yep, I can do that. So while you guys are signing that, just some updates. We started mowing this week. I knew it was coming, but if you've seen the side ditches, the last week they really shot up. So we figured we'd get going on that. The fuel tanks are being installed.
All right.
They have come in and they are moving. In 2 weeks here now, they've got the pads set, the bollards in, the tanks are set. They're working on the plumbing. They ran a lot of electrical already. They are moving right along. And within, depending on the weather here and that, we might have our new system up and running within a couple of weeks. So they have come in and moved, done an excellent job.
So this isn't their first rodeo either.
No, absolutely not. These
So
guys,
when will they go to take that underground out?
after this is all up and running, and then whatever fuel we have left in those tanks,
Don't
we'll
pump that.
pump it out and we can put it in a new tank and they just stay off the bottom so they don't suck up a bunch of crap. Yeah, we'll just put that in the new tanks then. So,
Is that gonna be a big process, taking the old tanks out as far as remediating that and?
shouldn't be,
Sure you don't know
but
till
we don't know until they start.
testing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have sold 2,150 buggy plates to this point.
Where's that stand in other years?
We typically sell 2,400 to 2,600 depending, but you always have the ones that'll come in late. And you have some throughout the year that come in and get a new buggy, so.
And they got till
We're-
the 15th or what are they?
Well, the 15th is the deadline, so we're just a little less than a week.
Yeah,
So-
many, Brad?
2,150. And then also, so yeah, the 15th is the deadline, and this is a reminder too, the 12th is the deadline for dust control applications, So we're getting there, getting close to that time. It's getting warm out, stone roads are done. We're started mowing, we're starting to patch. And then chip seal will be coming, so.
400 west, south of 124 did you have to dig that out? Because I know that was one of the roads you said was real bad. I know I drove down that this winter,
So, south of one.
south of 124.
Went in and.
Because you were
actually
gonna put calcium chloride on that or something
Yeah.
different in it.
So what they did was took the grader out. The grader can dig a lot deeper. Went out and graded it, tore it up, then leveled it off. Calcium chloride that we're gonna try to see if it helps on that road to firm it up. Won't be until they're coming through on their schedule, on the calcium chloride's
Oh,
schedule.
okay,
Yeah, because what they do is they start at the north of the state and work their way down through. So they got counties they do so much for every year. So as they're coming through, going south, they'll hit them then.
gotcha.
So we'll go out, they'll give us a day notice, we'll regrade it, get it smoothed out and pack it in. So,
Somebody told me that's what they used to use for runways when they were building runways.
Oh, no
in World
kidding.
War II.
okay,
Put
well, I
calcium
hope it works
chloride.
that good. Start landing planes out there.
All right.
That's all I got.
Okay,
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Brad.
all right. All right, Rick?
I guess we'll start out with the roof. I presume the council approved or January brought in the resolution of the cost of and council approved it.
They did.
amount. Okay, I'll just start with that, then I'll get to the skylights. This is per the contract then. This would be half of the amount on the roof to pay.
What's that? Sure.
And I presume that this would, it's fund 8950, but I do not know if, I don't think yet that there's an account number for it yet. I believe Bree might have to make one up yet.
You need a motion to pay this half up front. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Is
Okay,
this,
motion carries.
did we have this, was this the out of 3 bids or?
Yes.
It was just the low bid?
Well, this was not the low bid.
I would say it's not the low bid, it was, it's the bid was
It was a bid they
the most
went with.
responsive bid.
Yeah.
It was the most responsive?
Yes.
Okay, so then that should be the motion. To approve that as the most responsive, responsible bid.
I thought they did that
We've
last
already
week.
done that. This is just to approve to pay the.
Okay,
They might have done it the week that Clayton was here. I can't remember.
okay, that could be. So that might be why I'm asking the question.
They were just waiting on council approval today to make,
Okay.
sure they do this.
Okay,
We're just approving to pay the 50%.
gotcha, okay.
Staying with the roof here, I had mentioned to you about the 2 skylights that were kind of left off. I do have a quote for those. Obviously, that was not in that quote. We probably couldn't have had it in there anyway, just because of the 150 benchmark. So this is the quote for the 2 skylights. They're quite huge up there. Stick it right there.
This is for both skylights?
Yes.
Honestly, I was expecting something more than that.
I was too. I'm looking here going, okay, where's the final bill?
I knew when Stan asked if it was for both of them, I'm thinking, yeah, somebody else is thinking, it's reasonable. I'm not gonna say cheap, but reasonable. I was talking about 2 big skylights.
If you approve this, I would take it out of fund 1138-34006. I think it's a wise decision if you
Yeah.
do.
Remember, it crane and everything's a little price. Something's not.
Would you
Well,
think they're
they're
just gonna do it when they're doing the roof?
Yeah, the crane.
The good news is we're doing it when they're doing the roof. So that's,
Right.
that's a real advantage to doing it now
Right.
versus later.
Yes.
They don't have to, they're gonna be up there anyway.
Okay, so the motion is to approve that repair out of Fund 34006, Service Complex Repairs and Maintenance.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay.
Is that repairing or replacing?
Replacing. The skylights will be
All the
replaced.
same guys doing it.
It's the same company. Thank you. The elevator project's on the schedule for Monday. I want to make sure that's known. We're replacing the elevator here at the complex, and that's going to start May 15th and run through June 9th. We will not have an elevator at the complex.
So they'll need to plan accordingly.
We're going to set up a station if anyone needs to, right outside here in the lobby. And we'll have a list of telephone numbers per office they can contact. Accommodate whatever we need to do.
So they should come into the lobby, somebody will be there to help them if they can't climb.
But they'll have to call the office that they want to do business with because they won't know that they're there. We'll have a list of numbers and extensions.
And then Rick will carry him upstairs.
Do our best.
Shannon, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Do we have any employees that have special use of the elevator that this is gonna?
We don't have any employees who have reasonable accommodations right now, but I know that there are some who use it in general, but not for anything outside.
Do we need any special accommodations for those employees?
I don't, not to my knowledge, because none of it's
Okay.
documented.
Okay, thank
I
you.
think at this point, it's just a preference thing.
Okay. Very good.
This last Saturday, a little update. Put mulch around Superior and the circuit court. Get that dressed up and I'll get some flowers over there. You know, courthouse of the monuments.
Can they call before they come over here or just come into the lobby or what?
Well, as they enter door 4, probably door 4 because all the other doors have steps anyways. The number will be posted. When they come in, they would be able to call.
Is there gonna be somebody there to help them?
Oh my God.
When they call, someone will come down and
They're
help.
not going to be monitoring the door 24/7.
Right.
They've got to call.
They got a call with that number that'll be posted per office that they need to do business with. My goodness.
Tony's office, I'll be glad to hear that.
That's right. And it'll all ring down to Ed's office and have him come. Because we work together, so.
The last thing I have, Mike is in, Mike Brown. He must have got caught up in somebody asked me if I would present this. This next thing I have is the last thing in the power room to get it done. Right. And then start hanging panels and stuff. And that's the floor in there. Pallet tapered. There was a shower in there at one time, so the floor slopes. When he goes and puts his racks in there, it's going to have to be leveled out. Then there'll be what they've sought after here is a coating to put over it also. When I give you this, there's also some other quotes on here. Get into that when you look at it. So this would be for the power room in the future server room of grinding that while they're here. Not finishing it, but getting it ground off and making it level.
So that's what these quotes are, is just for the grinder.
No, and the finishing of.
It's the finishing of the power room, but over on the other side of that block wall, it would just be grinding that down to get it level.
Will that floor have to be finished then, once it's ground off to be level?
Yes, and that's in here.
Oh, they're both in there? Yes.
The one that on the other side of the wall, the bigger room, it will have to be finished afterwards. But not now. So if you made it to the third page, that's concrete leveling the floor. And then putting the epoxy on it, 3 coats would be the second line item in that room, power room. And that would be the total for that room. Going down to the next portion of it. That separate room that I was describing on the other side of the wall, the big wall, that would be the price to grind that floor to get it ready whenever in future state we're ready to do it. While they're here with their grinder, whatever they do. The other portion down there was the room where the old food bank was, why they were here. Actually, Bob had taken them in there just to see what it would do to clean that room up. That was just a quote and a price on there going into my future office. But the main thing is that power room.
And that's the $10,678?
Yes, sir.
So that, additional options, is that your proposed office or is that the middle room between the,
That's the proposal.
that's your proposal?
Yeah. Why they were here, they just quoted it. He just threw it all on the same page.
So the surface prep and adjacent room, that's the big room between the 2 server rooms?
Yes.
Okay.
And that'd be $600 to do that. If you were to approve the power room and prepping the other room is $600, that is $11,278 total.
Is that minus the $14.97, 10% discount if they do it all?
No, not even, that's not even involved in that. That would be the first 3 line items. The last 2 was just why he was here. Actually, I had to go attend to something else. Bob took him in that room just because of how the food bank and all the mess was in there. But that does not need to be done at this time. It's just on there. So Tony, it would be the first 3, the 10,678 plus the 600.
That's the 11,271.
Yes.
Rick, is that food bank room usable the way it is?
Yes,
The floor of the Senate?
it is. I'll just clean it.
Okay.
Matter of fact, that's where we're going to stage the elevator equipment,
Okay.
lock and key.
Gotcha.
So will he give us that 10% discount if we drop that room 114?
I think that was the whole total thing.
My guess is you get the room 114 work for whatever that difference is,
Yeah.
$2,100,
Yep.
$2,29.
But Steve, no, it does not.
Doesn't have to be done.
But as far as that new power room,
This,
Interesting. This is just part of the big plan, isn't it, Sam?
yeah, we have to get that in there to avoid static and.
yes. This, if you look at the other server room, that wasn't really done professionally and it's already chipping in there. And there's not a lot of traffic in there either.
So this will be one of the ads that we will have for, I forget, where's all this work going? What project is all this work going under, or is this not going under a?
This
Project.
would be going under the generator project. The power room is connected to the generator.
So this would be an additional to that ARPA.
As we kind of just heard from council that they want all that.
They want an accounting of all of it.
Yeah, they would like to know at their next meeting where we're at on these.
I gave them a
Projects
deadline
that are-
to all these contractors. I'd like to have it by the end of next week,
Okay.
so we can have the number. If you want to participate, I need it.
Well, I assume that we have to have some kind of non-static floor in there. And so,
That's what this is about.
you know, this is the most permanent
Mike
way to do that.
Mike snuck in there when you weren't looking,
Yeah,
Rick.
okay.
That room cannot be anti-static. That would just cause damage to someone who would touch something that's high powered. It would just shoot it right through their body, down through it. It's not the same as a server room where you got servers and you don't want the static when you're reaching inside or doing operations on it.
This will be with
This
a
is
UPS.
high powered in that room, and you don't want that to take place. We just want it to be go out through the ground instead of through your body in there. So it will not be anti-static in that power room floor.
So it will be kind of more or less a grounded floor.
We're going to grind it flat and then put epoxy over the top. You know, so we can cover up the grind marks and make it look attractive. Now, the other room has got more high places in it. They're almost like 3 inches in places because that used to be the shower room. That one has to have a lot of ground done to it eventually. And they said from the standpoint that since they were already in the building, grinding the other floor, that other one, we're going to have in there for only $600. So, but there's a lot of grinding that needs to be taking place in the other room. The floor is really heaved up in the middle, not from anything that happened from the ground causing it to heave. It's the way they built the showers for the women in the dressing room in there.
Sure. Right, a drainage issue.
I was more impressed with these people. The other people that we've had in, I think Rick just brought it up, that we've got chips and the grinding wasn't done very good. It's not very smooth in the data center. Something done with it again into that room. I've seen work done by companies like this, and it's much better than what we placed in the original data center.
So if that is not a grounded floor, the epoxy system is just strictly for cleanliness and just general dust control and.
It is going to smooth over the grind marks as they grind down the areas. It'll be rough when they're done. The epoxy will float and seep height and level the floor out and then make it better than just having a grounded floor.
Motion to approve.
I got a couple of questions. What are you approving, the whole thing or?
Just the I should clarify that. Yeah, the power room plus the $600 surface preparation for the room beside it looks to me like, I'm not going to say cheap, but it looks to me like the deal on the sheet is to get anything ground for $600.
$11,278.
Yep, $11,278. That's the motion.
I got a question on that room 114. Would that be the same flooring? if we did that? Finish?
That's the old food bank room.
Yeah,
It's not the same type of flooring, no.
but it would be finished where we'd never have to touch it again.
Yeah.
Because if we could get that $14.97 discount.
I know.
If we pay the whole thing, you get another
I
3%.
know. But when Rick told me we can use the room as it is, I'm thinking I'll keep our $2,000.
So you made the motion?
And this is going up the, continuing the ARPA generator.
That would be my motion, is that this would be included in the ARPA update that we're going to send to the council to review at their next meeting.
And 114 wouldn't be.
Wouldn't be a part of that project.
Oh,
Yeah,
it would
so-
not be.
No.
Oh,
So yeah, your motion includes the $10,678 for the server room and plus $600 to grind for surface preparation in the adjacent room.
so move, or second. Sorry.
Okay, all right, motion carries. Do you want us to sign this?
Could you please?
Rick, once you give invoices or whatever, could you also get us a copy of this signed contract to go with that invoice? Because they're going to be auditing all of this federal stuff while they're here.
Make sure you get it.
Thank you.
At the moment, that's all I have. Unless you guys have some else.
Good luck on the generator project, or the elevator project.
Yeah. The door jams are being installed as we speak and everyone.
Good.
Doors arrived, I take it.
One slab, the other one is not supposed to be here this week. One of them has. They're in there now, trying to get them in.
If we need all three signatures.
Hey, that's up to Mark. I don't know.
Yeah. It's got one signature line, but I don't know.
You need attestation, you need all three commissioners, just stand. You need Rick or Mike, you do all this stuff.
Stan, did you line out or something those options that they gave in there so we aren't approving all those?
Oh, no, I didn't.
I would draw a line through that and just initial it
I
so
would
that they,
add-
so they
put
don't
the-
think we're.
A test on here, auditor.
It's all good, he didn't, but
Okay, so, gotta put a line through this, right?
Correct.
And then, I'm gonna test.
the messed up either, Steve.
It's a toy.
Stop for yes or no and everything.
Yes, no, no.
Yeah. That looks okay?
It's all marked down.
Bria, do you want them to bring that to the deputy scan and keep it now, or do you want to wait until the invoice comes in for it?
That,
You want to show that to her, Rick, and see?
that's a signed contract.
Yeah.
Scan, or bring it up or scan it. Put it over.
And she'll know to attach it to an invoice.
Get it to you. Anything else?
Oh, that's right. Okay. All right. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and, Ed's not here right now. We're gonna go ahead, and ask Michelle to come up.
Yeah, Ed won't be here unless you absolutely need him because of tax collections are busy.
And then Clayton, you're welcome to come up too if you'd like. But we're gonna bring up the discussions that we've had with the city, and obviously we were here and listened to the presentation this morning, but this gives us an option to take any action in our meeting. that we'd like to. So, I don't know if you gentlemen have questions, as far as what was proposed or what was, talked about. But, in discussions with the city, obviously, we've had, Michelle part of that, and Clayton has been a part of that, along with the mayor and 2 city council members. Well, actually, the last meeting was just 1 city council member. And I don't know if Mark sat in on, yeah, you did sit in on that, didn't you? So any thoughts that you guys have as far as what we presented this morning and any kind of action we might need to,
I wasn't here this morning, but
but like from our meeting that,
Michelle, just to recap, as I understand kind of what we're working on here is we're working on a interlocal agreement with the city whereby you would continue to occupy the current space that you're in at the Merit Center for, I keep hearing a long-term lease. I haven't really heard whether that's 5 years or 50 years, but over a long period of time, a long-term lease, as well as acquire approximately half an acre
yeah,
of,
I think a little over half.
little over half an acre of ground. And you have the money to construct the facility on it that you need. So what we're looking at here then is approving not to exceed $200,000, I think is what council looked at this morning, not to exceed $200,000 out of the ARPA funding to provide both for a long-term lease and to provide for the actual acquisition of this property that you're going to build your garage on. And that $200,000, up to $200,000 basically is to repair or replace the HVAC system in the building along with some parking lot improvements that are going to be made.
Right, and because the garage would butt right up to the edge of the lot, and the lot
Right.
is rough. Like, we're having an event today that'll easily be 60 people, and no joke, the cars are like this all over the,
Yeah.
you can't see any of the lines,
yeah,
but, with us being in business, it's our 50th year, I just really want a place to call home, and having a 2-year lease, with the city for our office space there is nice, but I would like something longer so that if we're gonna set up shop and do the public transportation, that we know that we're secure where we're at and we can focus on that and not where we're going to be in 2 years. So that's kind of where Stan sits on my board as well, and where we had kind of come up with, you know, do we try to make the space we're at work? Do we come up with a different space? And honestly, the Merit Center building itself is in excellent shape and it does serve us very well. I mean, opening up, changing the library into a senior center. We are serving so many people of Adams County, and they're coming from out, like even from Ohio. We've got people coming to.
I was out there the other day and just kind of amazed at the activity that was going on in that senior center. And so just compliments to you and the vision that you have for that group. And I don't get out there often enough, but I was in there for a meeting the other day and was really excited to see the use there.
It is, and when we went in there, there was one tenant.
Yeah.
And for those of you that know me, I'm lively, so we brought life in there with us when we went in there, and people in there, people walking the halls. I mean, Reverend Randy Rossman, I don't know, he is a pastor there on Zion Church on 3rd Street. He had a heart replacement, and he was able to come twice a day and do his rehab walking inside the building.
Yeah.
Like, what other space is easily, no steps for someone to be able to do that? I mean, it's been a blessing, but I really would like to put roots down and build a garage. I mean, I saved for the garage, I've saved for the vehicles. We're ready to roll. It's just.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I have this worded correctly in both meetings. The approval was for up to $200,000, and this is for land, which the garage will be built on, and what else?
And
Long-term lease.
A long-term lease.
And long-term lease,
Long-term lease.
their offices and parking lot repair.
so we'll have to finalize the interlocal agreement with the city of Decatur and get that in a final form. And that'll have to be approved, and then we'll also have to make sure we follow procurement guidelines for the building and everything else. So I know you've got quotes on it, but I'll want to work with you on that, so
Sure.
talk about that. And then, it sounds like there'll be some money included in that we'll be using then to make other improvements other than just the HVAC.
Yeah, I think think one of the quotes I heard for the HVAC was like 350,000 and then, so half of that plus whatever quote's not prepared.
So we just have to get that all in writing and
Yeah.
get that
My
finalized.
question I thought of is the existing, so there's two small brick buildings. The north building they want to keep because it does the hero bags. The south building would need to go so we can put our garage there. Would that be my responsibility to demolish that? Is that part of my build? I just wasn't sure
I think so.
how much, okay.
That's what we gotta figure out, because maybe, yeah, we'll figure that out and get some quotes on maybe what it'll take to do the demo versus leaving it there. We'll get, and then that'll all factor into how much ground we need and, well, how it's shaped. So, yeah, we got some things to work through.
What do you see as the next step?
I think the next step is based upon what the council did this morning, is for the commissioners, to approve proceeding, finalizing the interlocal agreement with the city of Decatur.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion carries. We'll go ahead and I don't know if we need to set up another meeting like we have in the past.
Probably we need to just meet you and I and Michelle and Clayton and get the final form of that hashed out and then get it over to the city.
Mark,
And we'll get some quotes too.
let me ask this. The council approved up to $200,000 in ARPA. If the motion is to proceed with the interlocal agreement, should we also have a motion that the commissioners are approving up to 200,000? Because Julie Marie has said that it takes both. So is that two separate motions?
No, that's
No.
part of my
Or
motion.
is
Same
that, that's part of that motion?
Same motion.
Okay. Just wanted to be clear.
Okay, very good. You seconded that?
Sir.
Okay,
Thank you for your
motion
support.
carries, so we'll
Appreciate it.
proceed and we'll get a
Michelle.
meeting set up.
Yeah.
We're going to screw up the state board here.
What quotes,
Yeah.
how much is the quote?
Reprimanded.
I do. I met
Have you ever
with
been
him.
reprimanded before?
I've heard the name.
I met with him last week. He's getting me definitely.
Actually reprimanded you, so
No.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking.
I know.
More than your wife does.
Probably. Watch these two of them,
And everything that's it.
34 years, so.
I just don't have money saved for the demolition, so we'll need to figure that out.
Okay.
Hope my wife doesn't watch that recording.
See, mine.
Absolutely.
Whoa.
I'll show it to you.
Because this is just a pole barn.
Yeah, I'm gonna build another one of these. So I
Oh,
really
yeah,
have
I love it. Yeah, Ed's not coming down.
48 by 72.
They're pretty busy.
Yeah. 14.
He might have been here an hour ago.
Yeah.
I've been running the mill.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be here before the meeting. There's building packages on here. I'll show it to you
Bob,
if you're
why
gonna
don't you
be
show up?
Anyway, I'll show it to you.
Okay.
But
Or send me the link, I can look at it.
there's some interesting stuff. You can do.
Absolutely.
And then it gives you all the
Sidebar.
ceilings. You don't have trusses hanging down.
Okay.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I just want them warm and secure and safe.
Yep. Anyway, I'll show it to
Am I
you.
monopolizing your meeting?
No, but I mean.
My little sidebar going on
Might be
here.
able to save some money, get a little-
Extra 300,000, okay, sounds good to me, Mark.
get a little bit.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Uh,
Thanks.
Sounds like the mafia.
Mark's writing that check.
Somebody made an offer they couldn't refuse.
Okay, Ed's not coming down, so Mark, if you'd wanna, go ahead, if you have anything for us?
We just have on the agenda then the final discussion on whether or not, whether you approve or forego acceptance of the high bid on track 4 of county farm ground that was held at the public auction. So that's up for decision today.
Okay, this is the farm ground that, last week we approved the sale of the farm ground on the west side of 200. And then, so put off the decision. We had the public hearing last week, for people to speak to the decision to sell the 62 acres on the east side of 200. And so we've had the benefit of discussions on that, both in public meeting and from private calls. And so that, final bid on that, I believe, was what, 12,000, just a little, $12,008 an acre, which was, just a little over $2,000 less than the average of the appraised prices. So at this point, with the benefit of that bid and with the benefit of the public hearing that we had last week, it's up to us to make a decision on whether or not to sell that property for that bid price. So, I guess we've had our chance for the public to speak. I guess I would ask, the other commissioners to speak to that. And, I would appreciate a motion either to go ahead and entertain that bid and sell the property for that amount or to not sell the property for that amount. So at this time, if you got discussion on that, I would appreciate that.
I think you need to hear from each of you concerning what your recommendation would be and the reasons, and then we need to make sure we make a record of it either way. So before you make a motion and vote.
So Steve, you got seniority.
Steve, oh, Steve. I know it didn't bring what the appraised value was, but that appraisal was given back in October. And I know interest rates and land fluctuates. And so at the time of the sale, that was probably high dollar what the ground was for. And I guess we're not supposed to make a motion, but I'd be for selling the land.
I think as we've talked here, the definition of market value is especially at public auction, at a well-advertised, well-attended public auction, I don't know how you can get a better assessment of market value than that. But my position is a little different than whether we hold it for a higher value or whatever. All along I felt like that once the determination was made that we had no future use for the land, that at that point then the only reason to hold it would be for investment purposes. And as far as I can tell, and I think even from the State Board of Accounts, the feedback we're getting from the State Board of Accounts is that land is not an authorized investment for us to invest in. If we decided we thought we could speculate on land and go out and buy land and today and sell it 5 years from now at a 50% profit, it still wouldn't be an authorized investment, even if you or I personally would take that investment and want to do that and feel like that was a whale of a return on our investment. It's not something that county governments are supposed to do. So I think, again, back to the decision that was made that that land was excess and no longer being held for future use, to me, it becomes just like any other excess property that we have and needs to be sold. I appreciate the feedback that we've got from folks that have asked us not to sell it, to consider the fact that it had a higher appraised value and that it sold for less than the appraised value. And I think Steve makes a good point that the world changed in that 6 months. Interest rates increased. I'm not sure, farm ground seems to have gone down. I know I'm hearing reports of other farm ground that's being offered for sale and either not being sold or being sold for less than what they were expecting from it. I know I personally experienced that with some farm ground that I was involved with. But my position is really not relevant to value. It's related to whether it's an appropriate investment for the county to hold. And in my understanding of investment guidelines, it's not appropriate for the county to hold that as an investment. That's my thought.
So before you, a couple other points, and I want to make sure we clarify for the record then, is that between the time of the appraisals and the time that you actually finalized the tracts for sale, then you took out approximately 8 acres of ground, which had road frontage. Okay, so that impacts the value of the land. And so that would be an impact that would not have been reflected in the appraisal at the time the appraisal was done. So you did pull out some of that. The other factor, which you both already touched upon, is change in market conditions. The change in market conditions between the time of the appraisal, both appraisals and the sale, was pretty substantial, both in terms of interest rates and just overall economy and what the market was paying for land in Adams County similarly situated. So I think all those things were there. I think you've already articulated those things. So if you're inclined to approve the sale, you need to document for the record the basis for approving the sale. It would be something substantially as follows, which would be motion to confirm the sale of Tract 4 of county farm ground by high bid at public auction to Dean Arnold in the amount of $750,000, consisting of 62.46 acres, and the approximate amount of $12,008 per acre. The sale is confirmed on the basis that the average appraised value and the amount of $14,522.50 per acre did not reasonably take into consideration the reduced road frontage of the parcel, tillable and access impediments of the open ditch and soil types that were apparent considerations of the bidders at a well-advertised public auction. Further, there have been substantial market changes and increased interest rates since the date of the appraisals. And the commissioners find that the high bid received for the tract of public auction is a reasonable fair market value of the tract offered for sale, and therefore the sale is confirmed. If that's what you vote to do, then I think that articulates the basis. It was apparent on the day of sale that the bidders were taking into consideration the soil types, the fact that that tract has a large open ditch running through it, and access to the acreage to the east is impeded to some extent. So I think all those factors were apparent at the day of auction and was not accurately reflected in the appraisal, as well as the fact that you did withdraw some acreage from the appraised value, which was road frontage. So anyway,
Can you print that for us so I have it?
if you're inclined, if you decide to confirm the sale, then I think all those reasons need to be articulated as part of the record.
Okay, so I guess one way or another, I'd accept a motion on, from you gentlemen on what your wishes are. And I would hope that motion would include some of the explanation that Mark has.
If Mark gives me what he just read, I'll make sure that's reflected as it's written.
Well, and you may have a different opinion, Stan. I mean, you may have an opinion that
If you all three agree to that.
it should not be sold, and I mean,
We haven't heard your.
you can state that, but then obviously it's going to take a motion, and it's going to be.
Well, I agree that there was some change in the way the land was offered as far as taking away some of the road frontage, which affected the usability of that property. And it is a different value with the ditch running through it and the access issues. So I think, you know, what your description was very accurate as far as how it came about, when the appraisals were done, how they were done in combination with the land on the west side. So I guess at this time, I feel too like the bid price that we received at that time was an accurate reflection of the true value of that property. So I guess that's my thought. And so I guess I would not see turning down the bid price of that property based on below appraised value, because I think that would be accurate. So, and I think that money is from the sale of that land. It will remain protected for its intended use, as council has designated that fund. And so I feel, in my opinion, it would be appropriate to sell that property at that bid price.
So if you're inclined to approve the sale, then we need a motion on the basis of those reasons. And that I, read and you've already articulated, but I think we need to make sure that's clear, because your motion is that on the day of sale, that was the accurate value of that parcel.
making the motion? Which Steve wants to do?
I'll make the motion
I'll second.
that we go with what Mark just presented.
I think Mark did a good job of
And I
articulating.
want to add one more thing. I know there is, oh, wait a minute. You seconded it.
I did.
Did it pass?
Yep.
All right. There's an additional, what, 6 to 8 acres on the south side of the nursing or the Golden Meadows that we've kept.
That's right.
How do we go about with that 6, 8 acres of getting it farmed?
We've already got, that's advertised, so we'll get bids on that.
Okay. All right, so that is advertised already?
It was advertised just in case, in case you'd kept it, then that way you could get it out and get it farmed as soon as possible.
Would there be any reason to allow the owner of that 62 acres first option at farming that?
You still have to put it out,
Still have to bid it out.
get bids on it, and Dean can certainly be one of the bidders, so.
Do whatever you want with it, I think we better, Lily gets a better plan for beans.
All right.
All right,
Yep.
so we've got a motion. Did you want to add anything? to
Nope, I'm good. Said my piece.
Okay, all right, Tony? any
I don't need to add
questions?
anything, I'm good.
Okay, all right,
I've got
motion
Correct
carries.
verbiage.
Very good. So, all right, congratulations on the top bid. Dean. So we
Thanks,
appreciate-
Dean.
We appreciate
Thanks for your bidding
patience-
and thanks for being there.
Appreciate your patience with us on making that decision. So, all right.
I will say, I know that price seemed low, but, it's a really nice long field. The bookouts are Jim Price farm here just a little over a year ago. John Nylander bought that. And that went auction, it was advertised really good, but that went for 10,000. That's a really nice farm, 100 acres. And I honestly thought that this 10, 11, $12,000 an acre very well hit that. Each side with the creek cutting out, cutting it off, and the bridge was in a very wide bridge with banisters as high, for, hey, what it is.
Yeah. Well, very good. And as far as the government, we have to look, like Steve Bailey said, we have to look at what our responsibilities are and what our priorities need to be as far as land ownership. And so we, along with the majority of council, have decided that ground needed to be sold and put towards other capital projects. So I appreciate
Now,
it.
when will that sell? Whatever it is, 5, 6, 4 acre, whatever it is, now when will that come up for bids?
I think it's, 2 weeks from today.
I mean, here,
Uh-huh.
right here at the commissioners meeting?
Turn the bid into the offer.
Yep, and Clayton, I mean, you could talk to Dean, and give him the, it was
Make
advertised.
sure
You
Dean
can
has
make sure you have
inside
it.
skinny on that.
I think it's is it on the 23rd?
Yeah, he said it was.
Saturday,
Yeah, day of the bids will be.
Approximately. Yeah.
That will be sold under.
Well, not sold, just leased for farming,
Yeah.
Cash rent.
cash rent.
Hey, Mark.
Yep.
Hey, we thought we had that. I mean, it's sold at auction, Kruger did a damn good job selling it. We're spraying 80 acres right across the road, my cousin's farm, and charge well, we're right here, so we spray, I don't know, it's not like I got it yet, and wow, they're gonna sell up, blah, blah, blah. And, oh, hell, just spray it. Well, it has Interis chemical in it. It has to go to beans. Only the front part, most of the back part was just 2,4-D and Roundup, which could go to beans or corn, whatever. You just gotta wait 5 days, But that front part may not grow corn very good.
Okay, well, then we'll.
And that's out of my pocket.
Yeah.
So if somebody rents it,
I would highly recommend putting it to beans. And I'm not worried about the cost of the spray. That was our mistake.
Okay.
My son got a little wild, I think, with the sprayer that day,
All right.
120-foot booms was just like one swipe around there and it was done, Like, oh shit, if we don't get that, somebody might raise some really shitty corn.
Thanks, thanks, Dean.
It's recorded for posterity.
We'll pass that information along if they don't watch
Yeah,
the video.
just make sure that, that 6 acre, whatever it is, that should go to beans.
Okay. All right,
The chemical, we'll throw that in on the bill.
all right. Thank you very much. Appreciate that information.
By the way, I already fixed the broke down tile on there too.
Oh. Okay.
I didn't get all that down for you guys.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Am I free to leave though? I didn't sign anything or?
Nope, you're good.
All right, well, thanks.
All right,
Take that. Mark, I think that advertised.
very good.
Just send it out there.
Stayed on the ground, 63 acres. Does that still stay if it's pared down to the 8 acres? You know what I mean? This says a 3-year lease agreement.
Well, we'll just have to ask if they're,
Approximately 63 acres.
yeah, we'll just have to ask if they're interested in farming just to eat and what the price would be for that. So we'll just have to let them know.
All right. Well, very good. I appreciate everyone's patience with that. I know it got drawn out just a little bit, but sometimes that's the way things happen. So, all right. Anything else for us, Mark?
We had talking with Jeremy Gilbert, so is he coming in then?
I don't think so.
We had the low bid, for doing the asphalt, which that was approved, and that was Brooks Construction, and that's for the asphalt on the pickleball courts, so, they can go ahead and get that done. They've got the quotes that they need on the fencing. The low bid on the fencing was RNC Fence, $27,860. So we have that. We have the quote for the nets and posts, and that meets our procurement requirements. That's $6,552.84. And then they also got a low quote on the pavilion. That was from Arnold Lumber, and that's $12,450. So those are ready to go as soon as we approve that.
What was the nets and fence, or the nets and poles order, 6552? Is that
$6,552.84.
also RNC?
No, that is Sinclair Recreation.
Well, those came in a little bit better than what he had.
Yeah, they had estimated on the pavilion, in the original estimates, it was 18,000 something.
Yeah.
And there was a bid from another one that was 14. And so Arnold is the low, 12,450.
Very good.
Now, they've also got, the city workers are gonna, help do the, concrete work. And then we've got to figure out paint, and, I'm working with Jeremy on that to figure out paint quantities, and, because I think the quantities that we have right now are off. So I think they're high, so we got to refigure that.
Yeah, it looks hard. Gotta figure out between you and Julie Marie, because I think originally the council approved the pickleball court. That was taken out of the commissioner's approval, but they approved the other. So I'm not sure how that's.
We'll just have to see what the total, when I looked at the total estimates, which were early on, the estimates,
They're gonna come in less.
it was 99, it was almost $100,000. Okay, so we're under that.
I just need to make sure
but-
that she has the resolutions or whatever she needs to
Yep.
make sure all this is compliant with everything.
So do we need to approve those three
Yeah,
quotes then?
those three are ready to go, and they followed the procurement guidelines.
And then, okay.
So I don't know if you remember, but we adopted an updated procurement procedure and ordinance back in April. And so that These bids and quotes follow that.
So this would be a commissioner approval towards the pickleball court following procurement process and quotes.
It's the commissioners approving the contracts for the work. The money's been appropriated, but the commissioners have to approve contracts for the work and know that the contracts were procured according to your ordinance, and they are.
We need a motion to that?
You know,
I'll make that motion. But Steve's not going to second it. But it's on you, Stan.
Okay. I'll second that.
Okay.
Was Steve Coon a nay?
Yep, Steve is no.
How much was the RNC fence quote again, Mark?
The RNC is $27,860.
Steve, we gotta go out and start playing pickleball and see what the excitement.
Well, I did see that they're moving dirt out there, so they're working on it. I was out there last night. And every time I'm in that building, there's pickleball being played over on the courts on the inside the building, so I'm assuming they'll be used.
Well, it's,
Pickleball players or not.
You're certainly welcome to speak to that, but you don't have to.
I am
I have
not.
nothing to say.
I haven't played yet, but I suppose I should probably figure it out.
Let me know, I'll come with you.
All right. We'll both be there. We'll both. I play like John Candy, played racquetball.
All right.
It's a double team, I'll take it.
So, yeah, so that motion carries. All right.
That's all I got.
Okay, Shannon, did you have anything for us?
So over the last couple weeks, I've been working with Theory ProTech, who is our printer provider, and Golden Meadows to get a new printer out there because they've got 3 that are really old that they're going to combine into one through Perry. So this is the contract for that printer. It's been through change committee and Mike's good with it. They've looked at it at Golden Meadows. I've looked at it and they've looked at it for me this morning. So they're all ready. As long as you guys are okay with it, then Stan just needs to sign it.
Is that in the budget somewhere? Where do you know where the money's coming from for
Yeah,
that?
I put it down here on the bottom. It's coming out of Mike's. I don't know exactly what the line is called, but it's his printer usage line item.
Okay.
So, and he knows that and he's good with it.
How much is it?
It's 93 a month for 60 months plus usage fees.
What's the usage fees?
They're on the, I think, 4th or 5th page. We should get charged usage fees on all of our printers based on the size of the paper and whether they're black and white or color, I believe.
So basically, we're leasing this printer, or is that okay?
And that's the standard for the county. So right now, Gold Meadows has 4 printers. One of them is a Perry printer, and then 3 of them are not. They just went to Walmart and bought them, but they're so old and rickety. So this would be like a large multi-use workstation. So we'd be eliminating 3 of the old ones.
Good.
And using just one big one.
I don't think so.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
The school, Mr. Diabetic.
Okay, motion
starting to
carries
get-
to
They need to get
approve
some
that
food in
printer.
them.
That's a
New
good
printer.
idea.
I was just
You
looking,
start feeling funny after a while sometimes. so.
Yeah, my dad had
did you
that,
guys
so-
get the,
Yeah, you better.
printer evaluations?
Yes, I did.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, so that was one of the things that I asked for in the change committee was to have Tyler evaluate all of our printers, machines that they're supplying through the whole county. And so he and I met and he had provided a list of the current machines and all their information. And so then, he also provided a green, yellow, red version of where the printers were at. And so hopefully you guys have seen that.
I did, and I guess my thought, Stan, was that if he's going to be our kind of our printer consultant, maybe we should see him in these meetings once a year or every 6 months or something, and he can just kind of go through that evaluation and make recommendations. And I'm assuming that where those ones in the red, the ones that he says are basically need to be replaced, would be out of their lease period. I guess I don't understand the financial aspects of where we're at on all these printers, but if somebody tells me one's broke and needs to be replaced, to me, that feels like, well, we need to build that into the budget.
Well, there's two in the red. I think part of it's gonna be, and I think it's a good discussion to have in change committee, but I think with this evaluation from the service department, it's gonna help us pre-plan. Like right now, when I go through this list, there's two of them in the red.
I guess I'd like to have that discussion here in this meeting, Stan, not just in the change committee.
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
If he's gonna be our consultant, I guess I was kind of expecting Mike would do that and bring that to us as a recommendation for replacing printers or copiers or whatever. But, if we're gonna rely on, what's his name? Tyler, if we're gonna rely on Tyler to do that, I don't see any reason why he can't come and make the presentation to us
And
commissioners.
it's not an isolated thing. For one thing, it involves every department in the whole county, as we know. The other thing is, when we replace a printer, it does involve a lot of work. I say a lot, as far as reconfiguring that printer. So it does involve the IT department too.
So maybe
as far as
Mike needs to come with him.
Right. So
That's-
if we're gonna have Tyler come in, that might be a good discussion to have.
I'm
Both of them here.
my preference is that those kind of discussions just come to us and we all hear, all three commissioners hear that discussion at the same time and we can make that
There
decision.
could be questions from other departments as well that might also have printers that are in the red or failing that are wondering, what do we need to do to get our?
Well, those would be my questions. When I look at that laundry list of printers, I'm thinking, do we need all these printers? Or are we in a situation like Old Meadows is where they're going to consolidate 3 printers down to 1?
That could be part of the asset
and
replacement or the
That whole asset
computer
replacement
replacement,
plan
asset replacement.
feels like, but if Perry Procheck is going to manage our asset replacement plan for printers, then I would like to hear from them.
And we can certainly do that. The thing is, I don't know that we need to, oversee every single printer on this list. I mean, there's a lot of printers and a lot of machines here with a lot of different characteristics and usages. So we've kind of relegated that to the IT department because they interact with that software. So, although I think we need to keep a handle on this. I don't want to, in our meeting, sit and decide printer by printer or machine by machine.
No,
what
I
we're
don't,
gonna do. I don't want that to happen here.
but I don't want to be blindsided by us having printers that are out of date and not being replaced the way our expert says they should.
Right.
I guess that, I would expect there to be an asset replacement plan for those assets that are aging or technology is being overcome by technological change. But I think that asset replacement plan, whether it's laptops or it's copiers or it's desktop computers or whatever that is, I think that's a plan that the commissioners ought to buy into and have a voice in and not just be decided at the change committee. And so whether it's printers or copiers or laptops or desktops or WebEx devices or whatever, the same way we would get involved with replacing trucks and vehicles. And we talked to Brad about replacing equipment at the county. I think I don't want to get involved and make a decision on every laptop, but I would like to have a voice in the plan.
Yeah, we'll have to find a way, Bree.
So assuming the list that you have from Ty Lake, whenever we went to Perry 5 years ago, they were all on contract, so we paid one bill. And on the invoice that came, it had them all, we paid. I went online and paid it each month to the US Bank on the utilities. And when they came in, Tyler went around to each office, looked at what we had, said, okay, do you still need 4 printers? Do you, in order, so everybody was the same in the county. So that way, like Golden Meadows, they weren't going out to Walmart and buying a printer or stuff like that. And then whenever the contract was going to be up, Tony, was that 2 years ago, a year ago?
Year ago, I think.
Tyler came in and asked what was going on, because the contract was gonna be up. And warned then the contract was gonna be up, the printers are, 3, 5 years old, I don't remember what the contract is. And has tried to renew the contract or try to figure out something, and it's never went anywhere. So I don't know, I think with Steve, I think he needs to come in and talk to the commissioners.
Yeah, I just don't want to be I don't want to be in the dark on that stuff.
Right, like my printer, I print check, so what happens when one day it's not printing? And I know at one point Tyler had said that it was taking almost a year to get printers in.
So you're telling us we don't have a maintenance agreement on our
No,
printers?
that's what went up, and Tyler had tried to talk to someone multiple times to try to figure out, are we going to renew it? Or, what's the plan of the county with them? And it's never been done, so, and that was up last year. So I think it's just more, he needs to come in and talk, and then the commissioners, they need to decide, are you gonna renew the contracts? Are you gonna get new print? What are you gonna do from there? So everybody's on the same thing. It's like you said, our printers talk to Doc Record. So they gotta be able to scan claims and other documents that other departments use in Doc Record.
I guess since we've kind of relegated the oversight of all of our Perry Protect machines to the IT department, I would like to see Tyler come in also. I enjoyed the conversation with him, but it would be nice to have him come in alongside of Mike.
Absolutely.
And
I'm
see,
not.
because I know when we change printers, then there's the whole software involvement also. And I don't know how big of a deal that is. But
Absolutely. I don't want to do
somehow
this.
it's got,
Absolutely.
just like when you talk about vehicles, like with the sheriff's department, they change a couple vehicles every year, and it's just a manageable asset plan. And same with the highway department and stuff. So, if we kind of work this into a manageable asset plan of, hey, maybe a couple of these that we've got in red, high usage machines, let's go ahead and change, just get a plan to it rather than, not having a plan, and then you've got a couple machines that you can't even get parts for, or that you can't get replaced and stuff, so.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with all with you, Stan. I think we need to have a voice in that.
So like right now on the list that Tyler sent, he's got 2 machines in red. So, I would say we need to start off and have that discussion, as far as the red and yellow machines, and, see what we need to do. But as far as an ongoing, I assume that, Tyler he's a salesman, but I have always depended on salesmen for knowing their product and knowing what's available and what's not. And so I would see him as a valuable resource on how to manage our assets, so. So as far as moving on from here, do you want to see him come into the meeting before we make any changes, or?
Well, I would like to have a voice in the plan. If the plan is that Tyler's going to manage the plan, if the plan is that Mike's going to manage the plan, or if the plan is they're going to manage it together, and we are going to be in a maintenance agreement, or we're not going to be in a maintenance agreement, or we're going to lease machines, or we're not going to lease machines, or we're going to own machines. Here's the expected life of a machine, and every 5 years we're going to replace it, and here's the plan. I guess I don't want those decisions made in the change committee. I want those decisions made here.
How about if we ask them both to come in?
That'd be fine.
I don't know what our agenda looks like next week, but
Do you want us to contact Tyler and ask him, or do you want to do that, or
If you would, maybe that'd be good, and,
ask his availability
yeah,
over the next couple weeks or so on
Yeah.
Tuesdays?
because we'll have change committee, this Thursday too, I believe, so we
So,
can,
so you could bring this up at the change committee meeting that
yeah.
Tyler and Mike are gonna be invited down here.
Why don't you let me do that this Thursday? And if for some reason we don't have change committee, I'll contact you or
So you want us to wait to contact Tyler, or?
wait till Thursday.
Okay,
But if you do talk to him, I mean, by all means, mention it to him, but.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, we could at least say, would you have availability on some Tuesdays coming up that you could meet?
for him and Mike to come in, yeah, so.
And then once we find out the exact date that Mike can come, then we'll ask him.
Get it on the agenda. That sound
Good.
okay?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I think oversight is a wonderful thing, but, you know, we've kind of set a precedent of trying not to micromanage departments and decisions either, so. So, yeah.
Well, for my department, I would welcome this discussion. I want to know where we stand with ours.
Yeah,
And I don't know.
I think those big picture decisions need to be
We've had
made
to call it, have
by
a
all the
work call.
commissioners, not made in change committee.
So. All right. Well, I will bring this up Thursday and see if I can talk to Tyler also and see if we can have them both come in here. So, together.
Whatever they decide.
if that's okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Stan.
All right, yep.
Okay. I don't know if there's anything else. Oh, Bree, you had talked about in the council meeting about updating the ARP, spreadsheet. Is that something you'd be willing to do an email out to us then?
I could have brought it. It's on my list.
Okay.
Such a elegance.
All right. One of the things that we talked about, and Mark, I don't know what your thoughts are on revisiting the makeup of the drainage board members. Any thoughts on that? Or, I mean, we had kind of mentioned the possibility of two commissioners sitting on that board along with three freeholders, one north, one central, and one south.
I think that makes sense.
So, okay. So yeah, as far as you guys' thoughts on how you'd like to,
You know, I think Mike had come up with some suggestions as far as folks that we might consider. One of the I'm not sure how this works, whether we make an appointment and then we go to them and ask them if they're willing to serve.
Don't we send them, don't
We-
we have you send them a letter?
Well, and the other aspect of it is they're, gonna be a per diem for
Right.
attending the meetings and then getting approval from council to
And I think
appropriate the funds.
if I'm not mistaken, Jackie indicated that based on the budget and assuming that they took office effective July 1st, I think she felt like there probably was enough money in the budget for this year to run, not to have to go to council for
They
additional
passed something
funds.
This morning, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah.
They approved that this morning.
What they approved
The change in the
in the makeup.
the makeup of the
And it
of
was,
the
it was
board.
said at that time that if, it may or may not be that there would be an additional required, we don't know. But it just gives them a head up just in case, but they did approve the freeholders, the 5 members.
Okay.
They wouldn't be shocked if we came to them with an additional appropriation for,
Okay, good.
for that.
We may want to do a resolution of the Board of Commissioners that changes, that at least documents the change effective July 1. And then, get some names and you generally reach out to them, contact them, see if they're willing to serve. If so.
And then make the
then you
appointment
make the
official.
appointment
Then,
official,
Okay,
once
good.
you know that they're willing to serve.
Good deal. Good deal.
Okay, so we've got a list of possible drainage board members that our surveyors brought to us. So in taking on that list, do you want to bring forward some names?
Do we want to do that, or do we want to go out and make sure they'll serve first, and then we can make their names official?
Or have they also?
I don't know if we need to contact everybody on the.
No, I agree.
We
I agree.
picked one out of the north, central, and south.
And
So do we?
should we just have Mike reach out to them and see if they're willing to serve, and then if they are, then we can name them publicly and appoint them publicly?
Yeah, either way, if you want to wait to name them until you've approached them.
I guess I would hate for them to
That's-
read it in the
Yeah,
paper.
yeah.
When they, at this point, as far as I know, they have no clue they're being considered.
Yeah.
Now, maybe Mike did kind of say, hey, we're thinking about it,
Yeah.
but
Okay,
the list was pretty extensive.
so we'll
He had
hold off on
several
that
to
until
think
we've
about.
contacted them and.
Kind of after discussion here, if you don't mind, that would be maybe my thinking.
Okay. So you guys are okay with us negotiating with the city as far as the land
Yeah.
at the Merit Center and the home
To
church?
me, I think we kind of painted the guidelines there, but it makes sense to me that you guys put that together for us, this recommendation.
Also Judicial Infrastructure Assessment Committee, we are having another meeting on this Thursday at 4 p.m. So, and they have given us a letter of proposal to do the work, and so you've had a chance to look at that.
Yeah, I've looked at it. I know I've got to go over it a little bit more with
Okay.
Clayton and
Where's that meeting at?
We usually have it right here in the commissioners.
4:00?
Yep,
All right.
that's 4 o'clock Thursday.
yep.
Okay.
Clayton sits in, but he doesn't usually say much.
What?
Yeah, it's just not.
I said you sit in, but usually don't say too much. Yeah. So, yeah, that'll be at 4 p.m. and,
Okay.
we do have on the 16th on the agenda, we are meeting with, our community mental health provider. We've got them coming in for a report. They're looking to schedule an opioid steering committee meeting.
When is that gonna be at
I
opioid?
don't think we've scheduled it yet.
We've got one on the 18th at
Oh, do
West
we?
End from noon to 1. That's what Ian sent us and invited us.
Okay. I guess we do have one scheduled.
So it's on the 18th?
Isn't that, Bree, what the email said?
So where's that at?
18th at West End at from noon to 1.
West End?
Yeah, noon to 1 at West End.
At 1?
No, noon to 1.
Noon to 1, okay. On the 18th is what, it said when Ian invited us for.
Very good. Okay. Where are we at with the bids on the covered bid? Did we approve?
I don't know if Jeremy's turned those in.
Jim, we haven't seen a final one yet.
The final one?
I've got, we did have we had a painting bid on it.
But not the repair, tightening bolts?
Yeah,
and
it
stuff?
was all together.
I've got to check with him to see if we got all the quotes that we need to get for that. I think it was RG Zachary did have a quote from them.
I thought it was,
Okay.
But Limberlost, that one, I
Limberlost,
thought.
yeah, Limberlost. I thought we already passed
Okay,
that.
sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah,
There were
rehash
a
that.
couple of different things on the
Yeah.
covered bridge.
it was Limberlost that got that, the paint.
Yeah,
and to
yeah.
tighten the
And then
bolts.
some other things they were still waiting
Right.
on. more quotes or something. That's what I was asking Julie Marie about this morning, about all of Jeremy's stuff and where we're at. So, I mean, it's important that Bree and I get all this information and keep it straight because we're responsible for the grants and we're gonna get audited on it. So we need to know what we have approved officially and what, you know what I mean? Because we have to answer those questions. We're the ones gonna have to answer those questions when the audit people come in. Actually, they're already here. But we have to be able to prove to them what was approved, this is what's being spent. We can show you all that paperwork and all the, so we're always so edgy about all that stuff.
Maybe, might make sense.
Ice and all that.
Is that what
Maybe,
you know?
I
yeah.
think so.
All right. Okay.
They might recommend us.
Anything else from general public? Vernon, do you have anything?
Yes, I have rented some warehouse space. Signing the lease either tomorrow or Thursday. And going to start to move stuff out this weekend.
Okay. Because we've still scheduled, for May 11th at 12 PM. So,
And that's for an inspection.
yeah. So, is that something we should delay the inspection if he's got pending action? Or should we go ahead so that to give him more specific direction on what to move and warehouse someplace else?
When's that happening, Vern?
I expect to sign the lease yet this week and probably start to move stuff Wednesday, Thursday next week. I'm gonna be gone semi, Tuesday, Wednesday, so probably Thursday. Maybe something this weekend yet, I'm not sure.
I guess I would almost wonder about going ahead with the inspection just to make a real clear.
And then reschedule, inspection after a couple weeks.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, you can,
We'll
then you
give you
can,
an idea.
yeah, go out and see how things, what you got out there right now, and then after, you know, if he's committed to that and that's getting done, then you can go back in a couple of weeks and see what it's like. And then we can decide from there. I think that makes sense.
Okay.
That work for you?
All right. So yeah, we'll still plan on being out there at noon on Thursday.
Okay.
So, all right. And then I don't think the sheriff's gonna be there, but he's gonna send one of his deputies along. And then I think Mark Wynn's probably gonna plan on being out there too, so it'd be at least the three of us, so. All
Yep, I hauled away several loads of junk. Got several loads of pallets going out this week,
right, okay,
moving out a couple trailers.
okay. All right. Well, very good. So we'll plan on being out there and kind of go over things. All right, thanks, Vern. All right. Anything else from general public or from county council members? No?
I make a motion, we
Wait,
adjourn.
I have one thing I need to report on. I'm sorry,
Oh,
guys.
that's right.
I attended a real quick meeting with our, some folks from our health department, Mike and Luke Ainsworth, and, who all was there? Jessica was there, Holly was there, talking about the government, or the governor's, health initiative and the two new pieces of legislation that were enacted, to fund, some improvements in the public health area. I know there's coming this week, I believe, maybe today, I think we probably missed one, but I'm also sitting in on a WebEx or a Teams meeting regarding some information that they're sending out to commissioners and council. I think that's on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 2
I
o'clock,
know they
something
had
like
one
that.
this morning and then one.
We had one this morning and one Thursday afternoon, I
I
believe.
think the health department's already watched.
Okay.
or
And I'm
guesstimated.
planning to watch the one on Thursday afternoon, and obviously you guys can too. You can watch from anywhere. But just real quickly, the kind of the gist that I got from the team was that they were pretty encouraged by what they were hearing. If I'm not mistaken, it's like statewide, it's like $75 million, and 2024 and $150 million in 2025 that's going to be made available to the counties to improve public health. Some of the concerns, I think, from our team are, can we find, it sounds like there's going to be some resources required, like staffing. Can we find the appropriate staffing? What is it going to look like as far as reporting under the metrics that they're trying to track? They're going to set up some things, some progress reports. They're going to want to see how their money's being spent, make sure it's being utilized wisely. A lot of the things that they're asking us to do, we're already doing, but not necessarily everything. So they're still trying to digest also kind of what it means, what the metrics look like. I think there's going to be an option that we're going to have to decide whether we want to be a part of it or not. So I think there's an opportunity for us to either say yay or nay, Adams County is going to participate or not. So we'll need to make that decision at some point. But I think it's coming sooner than later. I think I'm hearing like September. We'll have to make that. We'll be making those decisions. So as with probably most things that happen at the state and coming out of new legislation, everybody's scrambling to figure out what's going on and who's on first. But our team, I think, was pretty encouraged by what they were seeing. So I told them that I personally would really be following their lead and relying on them to understand what the requirements are. And if it's something that Adams County residents will see benefit from. But just my quick update that they're working on that and there's going to be more information to come.
Well, the big thing I kept hearing, they kept trying to coerce us into doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, why are they pushing us so hard? You know, are
I
they
think
just
the
trying-
legislators saw that too and built some safeguards into it by allowing us to opt out of it and even affirming that there would be no penalty if we did decide to opt out of it. We could opt in later. So I told the health department team, I said, we're really going to be looking at you guys to say, hey, is this something we want to jump on right away, or do we want to take a wait and see attitude or whatever? So I told them we were counting on them to help us understand that, or I was anyway.
Well, it's almost like, you know, you talk to different people and it's like, okay, if you opt in, you're taking the money and selling your soul.
Yeah.
But if you don't opt in, you're just a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
And you're inventing all these.
Yeah, I think
bad
there's
things. That's what.
there's
Somewhere in between lays the truth.
there's a lot of money on the table. It's just a matter of what they're going to ask us to do with it and how we're going to be accountable for it. I think
How
is the
long they
question.
might fund it if you add,
Yeah, that's a real issue.
personnel and so forth.
That's the challenge. I'm looking at Shannon over here. If we go out and hire in particular, they talked about a liaison between the health department and all of our schools, not just our public schools, but all of our schools, our private schools as well. There would have to be a liaison that works with them in the health, in the school systems. So, you know, that's a relatively doable thing in schools that already have a nurse working. But if you're thinking about all of our Amish schools and all of our parochial schools where they may not have a nurse on staff, what does that liaison look like and how does that work? And what are the KPIs that they're going to be looking for there? So lot yet to
You
be
don't want to put
figured
all that
out.
in place and then at some
Yeah.
point, oh, we don't have it in the budget anymore. You guys are on the hook.
Yeah. Agreed. So that's my report.
It is kind of interesting how the state works. I mean, just like a few years ago when it was like, oh, by the way, we're sending all the level 6 felonies back to the county.
Yeah.
What?
And we're not giving you any money to handle them.
Yeah.
They're good at that. That's what I tried to say today in that meeting is, well, Darren Bates, when he was here, said it very well. He said, always take what the state says pessimistically. They're going to make themselves look good and leave it at our.
Oh, I know what, on another subject, did they pass that bill to where they're gonna put, everybody can put a commissioner on the regional, community mental health providers?
I don't know if that passed or
Did
not.
that pass?
I think maybe it did, Stan. I think I had read that it had. I was trying to figure out what all they did and
They
who knows
insert
what
so
those guys
much.
did down there.
at the end, they just insert different things in all these half of them, when they vote on it, they don't even know what's been put in there.
Because the state wanted to send a bunch of extra money, from the phone bills to the CMHCs, I think. And so
Well,
which didn't do much for us, I guess. but-
And I was trying to figure out if the bill to change the watershed,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Watershed
Because
Commission.
on that, I was trying to follow that.
I
one.
can't figure out whether that bill passed or not.
I
I
know,
don't know where it
yeah.
ended up.
Did it pass? You know?
Uh,
We almost need to text Travis or Matt and ask them if they know where those two things ended up. Or Google it, Google bill on
Yeah.
watersheds and see what it says.
Yeah,
Last I heard, it was one of those things you was able to, as a community or as able to opt in or opt out.
You just never know.
Well, I think it was that way from the start, though.
but I think the risk was that any county could opt out of it, and then it kind of blew up the whole system.
That the state
Yeah.
state
I'll
money
let
was gonna
you-
dry
Well,
up.
do you want to give it to Mike?
So it's kind of basically,
Okay, I
Hey,
can
you
give
guys
Mike,
collect
have
the
Mike
money.
contact.
Yeah.
and get back with us.
Watershed.
I also don't.
Let's, if you don't mind, let's do
The
that.
bill
And
that
we have
Bob
Grace
Lawrence
for
wanted,
Tuesday.
where
what's that?
I don't know.
Okay.
we're still, are you guys adjourned? Because
You guys-
the thing is still going.
I'm motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yeah, one of these days I might actually